Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy! Welcome back to more Pokemon Platinum! Last time, we learned more about Sinnoh's history from Cynthia and her grandmother, both from their own theories and from ancient texts. We then ascended to the height of the Spear Pillar, where we faced Dialga, the deity of time, Palkia, the deity of space, and learned about Arceus, the origin point of this universe, making it the last major stop on our journey. This time, there's been a bit of a change in plans. Okay, so, a little while ago I said, hey guys, what are the things that we have not done yet, that we have not seen yet, that we have not talked about, that we have not heard of, that we have not smelled? I don't know. But I asked you guys that, and I was expecting to be told of, hey, you said that you would go and do this, but you never actually did. Sure, it's been a 6-month journey. There's things that slip between the cracks, even if I knew about them, and even if I was fully intending on showing them off. I was expecting that much. I was also expecting to be informed of maybe 1 or 2 things that I personally didn't know about. This is a very huge game, if the episode counter is any indication. It's not tiny, and there's always new things that I learn whenever I play through Pokemon games. It's just kind of the way things are, because there's so much to do and see. What I was not expecting, however, is that you guys did such an awesome, amazing job at pointing things out that you wanted to see that I think your requests artificially extended the Let's Play. I don't think that we have time to go over all the things that you wanted to see and still have time to go do the rematches at the Pokemon League, so that's getting the shaft for right now. Specifically, the Mine Shaft, because that's why we're here in Orberg City. There is technically nothing for us to do here. But if you were to have an Arceus in your party that is either legitimate through an event or captured in the Hall of Origin, there would be a hiker here. Here is in where I'm facing, not where I'm standing. Now where I'm standing. He will not appear under any other circumstances. You have to have fulfilled one of those 2 specific conditions for him to be here. And he will tell you some interesting stuff. So, since I'm not doing any hacking or doing anything of that sort, how about we sit back, relax, take in the atmosphere of this often overlooked dungeon, and pretend that I am indeed a chubby backpacker wise beyond my years with the uncanny ability to bulge my eyeballs out of my face. Here we go. Hello, how do you do? I'm a student of philosophy. If I had to explain very simply, I study how people came to be. That could explain why I happen to be in Sinnoh. In Sinnoh, there is a myth on how the world came into existence. Investigating that myth may give me some insight on the emergence of people. I found something very interesting soon after arrival. You may have it if you like. We received the Flame Plate. I am told that plate was created at the same time as Sinnoh. The plate I found bears this inscription: the rightful bearer of a plate draws from the plate it holds. The rightful bearer, I think, may point to the shaper of this world. Oh, by the way, I'm only interested in the words and thoughts left behind. Physical artifacts like that plate don't interest me once I've read them. I hope we can meet again somewhere. After he leaves, you will find him once again in Canalave City. Well, hello, we meet again. After we parted, I went from Orberg to Hearthome, Celestic, then Eterna. Yes, the town and city surrounding the foot of Mount Coronet. Why the fascination with Mount Coronet, you might ask? Well, hello, we meet again. After we parted, I went from Orberg to Hearthome, Celestic, then Eterna. Yes, the towns and cities surrounding the foot of Mount Coronet. Why the fascination with Mount Coronet, you may ask? Well, Mount Coronet happens to be called the origin of Sinnoh. The way I see it, our world began when the spirit within people was born. When that spirit came to be, there followed awareness about the world. Within that newborn spirit, time and space were intertwined as one. People and Pokemon too were but the same presence. As I understand it, people and Pokemon shared the spirit and awareness. They should have understood and accepted each other then. Because they shared the same spirit, people and Pokemon intermingled. People took the place of Pokemon, and the opposite also held true. That interpretation could give us an idea of how our world came to be. A Pokemon is said to have shaped this world. Could that Pokemon be the physical form of the original spirit? The spirit came to be, and from it, time and space were born. That seems to point to legendary Dialga, the Pokemon of time, and Palkia, the Pokemon of space. Apparently Palkia gets the shaft and isn't considered legendary like Dialga. And they lead back to Arceus, the Pokemon that made them arise. Oh, there were also plates, weren't there? One plate read, 3 beings were born to bind time and space. Those 3 beings I read to mean the 3 Pokemon of the lakes. It's about Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. The myth describes how they gave spirit to the world, shaping it. But it all starts with Arceus, the first. It is known as the Original One. Oh, by the way, I wrote the words engraved on those plates. I summarized them in a book and donated it to this library. There it is, in that bookshelf. I'd be pleased if you read it. I have to say, I'm glad I came out to Sinnoh. I suppose I'd better be off in search of new myths in faraway lands. It would be nice if our paths were to cross again. The book that he donates to Canalave Library merely just has all of the texts that were engraved on the plate so that you can read them anytime that you wish. This hiker makes a reappearance in Heart Gold Soul Silver, and I had people telling me that they wanted me to show that off, but that's a different game entirely, and I just didn't really think it was in place here. But do know that he does make a reappearance there. Now, where are we off to next? That was kind of a big, heavy beginning with the very last holes of Sinnoh's mythos filled in. In fact, it ties together all of those ancient texts that we read in Canalave Library all that time ago into one story. Well, the next thing we're doing might not exactly top something quite that epic. Next off, we're going to Eterna City. So that we may talk about something platonically related to Eterna City. It is that in Sinnoh Underground, there were 2 unused Pokédolls that were intended to be given away through Nintendo events. 4 times in a row, guys. Amazing track record you got there. They were the Magnezone doll and the Manaphy doll. Both are in the game, both fully work, but they can only be accessed through hacking, unfortunately. Next, onto something that we can actually do. 1 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess. The old Chateau. We've already done everything there is in the way of core content here, but it's hiding a little bit of a secret that we have yet to come across. There might be some people walking around, but when you try to follow them, they are nowhere to be seen. There are a few of these that appear throughout the old Chateau, and it's a little strange to say the least. Happens seemingly at random, and apparitions of humans have been a long-standing thing in the Pokemon series in the present day, but this was the first place where it was something that was really given a lot of spotlight. Well, if you can call just random happenstance at nighttime a spotlight. I guess not really spotlight, but they're here. I think it's the best way that I can say it. Also on the note of the old Chateau, the first time that we visited here, I mentioned GBA Insertion. I swear that that is not a really painful game to play. It is that if you have a DS or a DS Lite, and you play with a Game Boy Advance Pokemon game in the slot, you are able to get different encounters after the National Dex. When you have the Sinnoh Dex, Haunter and Gengar here at the old Chateau are the only ones that you can find. But on screen right now, I will show you the other encounters that you are able to get after obtaining the National Dex. Basically, just whatever is version exclusive to those older games, you can now find with ease. It's not the most helpful feature out there, but again, if you have the Game Boy Advance games, they can definitely help you on your journey through the Sinnoh region. Next, we're gonna hop on our sweet ride once again. We're going off to Heart Home City, as I wanted to play through as much stuff as I possibly could before coming back here and talking to Mr. E. Goods to see if I had earned any more rewards. No one knows my real name, not even I do. Blah, 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 blah. Never mind, that was anticlimactic. These are the items that he can give you. I have obtained not very many of them. They are tough to obtain, and some of them you can only get by connecting to the internet for the first time. I think the globe is the one that lets you do that. So, they're secret base items that you can't get without hacking, even present day. Ugh. It's something, I guess. So, what's next on the agenda? Veilstone City. We're just going through an order right here. There's a couple of things here, actually. First are these absolutely pathetic meteorites that made implausibly tiny craters. These are pathetic. They could have done a lot better than that. If you've ever been to a crater and seen how large they are from such tiny things falling from space, yeah, I'd say they're a lot more threatening than this. Logistics aside, in a fictitious game, these are meant to transform the Pokemon Deoxys if you were to transfer it in. In the 3rd generation, Deoxys would be in its normal form in Ruby and Sapphire, would always be in its attack form in Fire Red, defense form in Leaf Green, and speed form in Emerald. This was the first time that you could just pick which Deoxys form you wanted instead of having to have it in the correct game. So that's kind of nice. Makes Deoxys a lot more viable and just a lot more useful in general because you can pick what it is that you want. Personally, I think Attack Deoxys is factually the best, but I guess it's not my opinion if I say that I think it's factually the best. Next, the Game Corner. Look who it is. No, really, look who it is. Ah, it is you, yes. I have decided to use the opportunity of being here in Sinnoh. I am therefore trying to teach moves to the Pokemon that I have captured. Also, if I have nothing to do, it means the world is at peace. Ah, my streak is broken! He broke his cool for the very first time. Looker will remain here until the end of time. So yay! We can come here and annoy him as often as we like and, run our hand across his gigantic forehead in order to polish it. He doesn't say anything else, but it's kind of nice that he's here. Unfortunately, that is our goodbye to him for a possible eternity. Also in Veilstone City is this cue ball right here. Sounds like an insult, but it's his official name. If he'll ever stop walking away from me. This has nothing to do with anything but take this technical machine. That is TM63 Embargo. That is what I hope/think after a lot of checking and rechecking is one of only 2 TMs that we never collected. So there you go. It just makes it so that your opponent is unable to use items on their Pokemon. Not the most helpful move in the world, but it exists. Let us hop on Sweet Ride once again and go up to Pastoria City. I alluded to this before. There is that standee next to the Pokemon Center that you can stick your face through like Barry did to look like a very unconvincing Krogunk. I've had people tell me that if you stand in here with your face, a wild Krogunk will appear. You can't battle it or anything, but it will appear, and I know that I've seen this happen before. And I know that I also didn't do this off screen, but I can't get said Krogunk to actually appear. I've stood here and stood here and stood here. I pressed A, I pressed B, pressed Y, pressed X, pressed select, which doesn't do anything, hardly in any game whatsoever. It just doesn't seem to want to happen, but I know it does. People said they wanted to see it, but unless I already showed that and it was just a lot of people forgetting that I did, myself included, I can't seem to get it to happen. Next, Canalave City. Should you come to the Canalave Library after defeating the champion? Someone is here, and not many people talk to you from the side or behind. We've already seen what you look like from behind, so let's see your oh-so-elusive side sprite. It's Lucian. Ah, hello. You here? What? I was going for French and suddenly I turned into Mario. You're here to read too. Books are wonderful things. The thoughts of people written in books stretch beyond time and space. I was just reading a collection of essays on science fiction's genre. There was one quote attributed to a novelist I found remarkable. Though love may lose, kindness wins. I find that philosophical and at the same time, I'm just gonna stop, compassionate. I imagine that we'll see each other again at the Pokemon League. Take care. I look forward to it, Lucian. I very much look forward to it. Quite the departure from everything else that we've seen so far. We're going to Mount Coronet, specifically into this room that spirals downward into that cave entrance. On our first visit, there was a galactic grunt that was blocking said cave entrance. So, what was it that he was so carefully guarding with his life? What was it that Cyrus did not want us to get at by any means necessary? TM02 Dragonclaw, pretty nice. But right next to it is a hidden nugget, also pretty nice. If you're wondering where this is, you need to access it from the summit, because this is that area with that boulder that we couldn't go through earlier from Celestic Town. You gotta loop around that way. Of course, if you leave the area and come back, you are screwed of ever backtracking, so maybe it's for the best that I didn't go like, huh, where are we? Pushes boulder, goes outside, ah! Whatever. Also in Mount Coronet are 2 new Pokemon that you can obtain that I glossed over, so I thank people for mentioning these, because they did slip between the cracks. They are, found with the Super Rod, Dratini and Dragonair. This family of Pokemon have very steep evolution requirements, but thankfully, because they're caught with the Super Rod, that's not such a big deal now, is it? Their final form, yes, Dragonair is not even his final form, had to be said, is a pretty good all-around Pokemon. Dragonite learns all kinds of different moves, physical and special, and has no terrible stats. Not much else to say, he's always been good. There's also, coincidentally, in Celestic Town, Corphish and Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt is a physical attacking water dark type Pokemon. A horrible combination at the time of its debut. Thankfully, Crunch, Crabhammer, and probably most thankfully Waterfall are now physical attacks, so it can actually do something. However, in a very unorthodox fashion, Corphish's encounter levels are much higher than Crawdaunt, even though they are both caught using the Super Rod. I would suggest catching it as a Corphish, since that can be up to level 55, as opposed to Crawdaunt only being as high as level 40. It also has the draw of having access to all of its level up moves right away if it's caught at least level 53, which Crawdaunt will not have. So definitely, catch it as a Corphish, teach it the moves that you want, level it up one time, there you go, new team member. Then there's this. This house, in the middle of this snow route, has something to it that I personally never knew about. And with it being located on such a terrible, not fun to play route, gee, I wonder why I never knew about it. I didn't know about this because every time I ever play through Sinnoh, I never want to come back here for any reason, so I make sure to get everything out of the way on my first visit and then never ever look back. But I have braved the blizzard for you guys, because you wanted to see this. This house is empty, but it wasn't always that way. There was a girl in here that gave us the spell tag on our first visit. After you leave the house and come back, just one time, she is gone forever. Compile that with the fact that she was sitting alone in a house with all of the lights turned off, and now she's gone. Well, time to never look back on this route, but not for the reasons that I initially did. Let's head off on our sweet ride one final time to the Pokemon League. Next time on Pokemon Platinum, it's our true final battle. See you guys then. After a heck of a lot of grinding,